In the gold market this week, there were some crazy moves, some moves to the upside, and then also some moves to the downside. This week, I had a really good week, gained about 474 pips inside of the market. So if you're looking to potentially do something similar next week, then stay around because in this video, I'm going to talk about my entries, my exits, and my profit zones. So that way you could potentially catch some of these moves that are happening right now on the gold market. So looking at the charts right now, you see I have a lot of different things here. I was going over some of the concepts inside of the Profitable Traders Academy and just breaking things down further. So we're just going to start with some really fresh analysis here and basically, as usual, go to the weekly time frame so that way we can see all of this data. So now that we're on the weekly time frame, we can see very clearly this is how this past week's candle closed, a very weak bullish candle, also looks like a doji candle, and basically price has just been in this consolidation zone ever since April. So obviously there's been some moves. So let's go ahead and mark off some levels so that way we could potentially catch some moves inside of this market. All right, so as usual, I'm marking off the very top. This is around 3,500 because this is the all-time high inside of the market. And let's go ahead and change the color. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is clone this level and then look for some levels somewhere in here that we can mark off in order to potentially catch some moves. So the first thing that I see is basically looking at most recent price action. There's a level right here at 32.58. I want to mark that off and then probably just one other level here inside of this zone. Basically, let's line this up with down here. This is sitting at 32.05 roughly. So I am going to extend this a little bit just so that way it matches up with the other level that I have drawn. Okay, that around there. Okay, great. So now there's actually one other level that I do want to draw that I'm just now seeing. It's basically a level right here, and I want to place this at 34, actually a little bit lower, at 34.46. And I think this is all that I want to draw here on the weekly. We have quite a few lines already. So let's go ahead and go down to the daily and see if we could make sure that we can see what's happening inside of this very choppy zone. All right, so starting at the very top, here is our all-time high. Still looks good. We do have a level here, and we may refine it on lower time frames, but it looks great for right now. We have this level that we drew before, and then this level over here, it's still looking good. However, it's still a little too choppy for me to add in the additional levels. So let's go ahead and go down to H4. All right, so looking at the levels now, I can see that we have this level at 40, or actually 34.48. And I actually want to see how it looks if I move this down just a little bit to most recent price action, which is going to be right here at 34.33. And I actually like the way that it looks. Let me just make the zone a little bit slimmer, just so that way it lines up with the wicks at the top. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so going down to this bottom level, this zone that we drew right here, going to push this up. I'm going to push it up around here at 32.69, roughly 32.70. So I like to have a nice round number. So let's go over here and look at this zone over here. So we can see that there's definitely a lot of support in this area. And one thing I want to do is actually want to push this up a little bit so that way it's more in alignment with more recent price action over here. If you are tired of missing out on gold in this blueprint, you're going to get an easy to follow profitable gold trading table as well as profitable entry levels and strategies. If you've tried to decode things like FOMC, geopolitical events, you may have tried without much success. And in this blueprint, you're also going to master simple strategies that the big players like banks and institutions follow, and then also be able to spot profitable opportunities so that way you could avoid some of the common traps that other traders fall into. And then, of course, you're going to save hours of research with a clear and actionable plan inside of the gold market. Just take a look at what some people are saying about this. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Profitable Gold Market Blueprint today. So now that we got this, I like this level at 32.12. Could probably move it down just a little bit to 32.10. Yeah, roughly 32.10. Really close to that. Okay, good. So now going back up to this zone in here, it's a little bit choppy and we can make sense of some of these levels. So because it's so choppy, I'm going to use my horizontal ray tool and look for areas to potentially use as supports or resistance. So right here, and just keep in mind when I say support or resistance, I'm basically still talking about a zone because none of these are exact prices. All right. So using this tool, I do see a level right here, and this level is going to be at 33.72 as a potential key zone. And then also, okay, so here's a zone that I see that is right here, and this is at 33.23. I like this level because we do have some support in here. And then also when price, at least the last candle closed, it closed around this area. Yes, the market is still open, but we only have 9 minutes and it is low volumes. So this level is really good so far. Let me go ahead and go down to the H2 time frame. All right. So on the H2 time frame, I'm liking the way that things are looking so far. Let me see if I could just push this up just a little bit more. So right here, so now it's at 33.72. This level is still looking pretty good. Let me see what it looks like if I moved it up. Yeah, I like this a lot better. So I moved this level up to 32.25, and now it's a nice round psychological number. Let's see if it holds when we go down to the H2 or the H1 before we get into our game plan. And then looking at this yellow level over here, this looks a little interesting. Let me just move this down. I think I want to move it right here to 32.69, 32.70. So it's still in the same. Let's go down to the H1 time frame before we get into the game plan. All right. So now getting into the H1 time frame, this top area is still looking good. This is looking good. We can even move this up just a tad bit if we wanted to. It's still basically at the same zone at 33.73, 33.75 kind of area. And this looks really good right here. I'm not going to touch that. So let's go down to this yellow zone right here. Just see how this is looking. Okay, this is still looking good. And I believe we had another zone down here. Let's go ahead and go all the way back so we can just see how things are lining up. We haven't touched this in a couple of time frames, but it's still looking good. So, I mean, if anything, I'm just going to move this. Actually, probably don't even need to move it. So actually, we're just going to leave it alone. It's still sitting at that 32.10 kind of zone. All right. So now that we have our levels, and basically these are some really big zones. So if depending on your trading style, if you want to break these up, you most surely can. For me, let me go ahead and measure super quick just so that way I can make sure that these are decent ranges. Okay, yeah, these are that's super big as far as a range. So I probably will add another zone for me right about here. Realistically, for me would be about here. So at 33.94, mainly because we do have a little resistance here, a little resistance here. And even if I wanted to measure this zone right in here, so that's 471 pips. Okay. And let me go ahead and mark this off right here. Just to have another zone because I wanted to break this up. I don't want to have these huge zones because I know that I don't typically hold a single trade for that long. Usually about 200, 300 is pretty much how long I hold it. So if you hold it for less, then maybe you want more zones. But for me, this is looking good. All right. And then down here, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so another zone that I see very clearly is right here, and this is at 32.84. And then even this level can be broken up, perhaps somewhere in here, maybe about right here, but I don't want to do that because too many lines for me. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and go to the game plan for this upcoming week. So now we can see very clearly we are in an immediate downtrend right here. It looks like price, this candle may close bearish because it is a low volume time inside of the market right now. But for the game plan, one thing that I see, so I'm mostly looking for sales, especially because it's bearish on pretty much a lot of different time frames. We saw when we were going from time frame to time frame, the market was basically bearish. So in this situation, definitely we'll look for continued sells. So let's go ahead and measure this zone here. And then as you probably notice, markets tend to fall faster than they rise. So this zone right here is going to be about 400 pips inside of the gold market. And then looking for some sort of continuation down to this zone right here at 32.68. And for whatever reason, if I was looking for some sort of counter trend trade, going to the buy side, I wouldn't really look for anything anything unless I was above 33.74.75, targeting from here to here, mainly because we have some significant market structure here. If we followed that back, we can see that, but that's a little too deep for this video. But that would be my idea on the upside. So let me go ahead and mark this off right here, up above here, and then basically just sells. Just sell, sell, sell. So at least that's what I'm looking for this upcoming week. So continuing that, and then actually let me go on the H4 time frame because it's a little tight as far as the consolidation zone. So you can see very clearly it's following this market structure right here. And then of course, if I was looking to continue all of this bearish momentum going all the way down here to 3209, 3210 area, it looks kind of crazy given the fact that it is over 1,000 pips. However, gold being gold, it is totally possible. So I want to go over to the left here and see what levels I could potentially target because this is such a large range. So obviously right here we have a whole bunch of wicks. So the areas that I would be looking for would be somewhere at the bottom of this wick. So basically targeting this right here. So continuing the movement here, looking for a potential bounce because sometimes it could bounce because we see what is done in the past, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it'll happen again in the future. And then right here as well. So pretty much this would be the end of my analysis for this upcoming week. If you found this helpful, go ahead and give this video a like, and then also subscribe to this channel if you're not already, because currently we are posting videos on Saturdays, Sunday, and Wednesdays, providing so much value for free here on this channel. So subscribe and I'll see you there.